Feel it coming in the air. Hear the screams from everywhere. I'm addicted to the thrill.
I'm ready.
It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem? Tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the King's Court. My name is Kabir and this is my brother Kerman.
What's up, guys?
So, just the lineup for today's show. Recently we heard a little back and forth between Dion Waiters of the Cleveland Cavaliers and Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards regarding who the best backcourt in the NBA is. We'll give our thoughts on who we think is the best backcourt in the NBA. And then a little later on in the show, you also heard Carmelo Anthony make comments saying that he thinks that he's the most underrated superstar in the NBA. So we'll give our opinions on who we think are the most underrated and overrated superstars in the NBA. And to kind of cap off the show, firstly we'll give you some, we'll hit you with some upcoming releases coming down the line later in the year. And to close the show, we'll finish with the sneak of the week. You can catch a little glimpse right here. They're the Air Max 90 infrared denims, which released the Bleached Denims. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, which released I want to say 2 weeks ago or something. So we'll give you an in-depth look at those, and they're just a really nice shoe as you can see right now. So all that's later to come, guys. So the first thing I mentioned was the fact that Dion Waiters and Bradley Beal recently exchanged a couple words regarding who the best backcourt is. Dion obviously thinks his own team in the Cleveland Cavaliers is the best, while Bradley thinks that the Wizards are the best. So Kermit, I'm just going to ask you, who's your pick for the best backcourt in the NBA? And I'm not going to restrict you to the best starting backcourt. I'm going to say the best backcourt overall, so you got to take the bench into account as well.
So Kabir, that's actually a very good question, especially when you throw in all the bench players included in the best backcourts in the NBA, when you're talking about the best backcourts in the NBA. For me personally, I prefer the Phoenix Suns in terms of having the best backcourt. They're completely stacked in that part of the NBA. In that part of the roster, they have Eric Bledsoe, Goran Dragic, Isaiah Thomas, who's recently acquired. Bledsoe actually recently re-signed, and they also have Gerald Green backing all of them up. And they also got Tyler Ennis in this year's draft, which is a very good pickup. So I just think all those 5 players are very capable players who can play some very productive minutes. Isaiah Thomas last year in Sacramento, we don't know how he'll mesh with these with the other two, Goran Dragic and Eric Bledsoe. But I think we can expect him to be very good this season. Last year in Sacramento, he averaged around 20 points a game, which is very impressive for a point guard his size. He's so quick, and that really fits the whole tone of what the Phoenix Suns are all about. They're a very fast-paced team with athletic guys. Like Goran Dragic is always looking to pass the ball up the court. Eric Bledsoe, same thing. He's super fast, super athletic. He can get to the rim with ease. He can dunk over people. And this dude's only a point guard. He's what, like 6'3"? And Gerald Green just pretty much is the icing on the cake. He's the ultimate athletic player. We've all seen it time and time again, from the dunk contest to his highlights last year. So all in all, I think the Phoenix Suns have a very good backcourt because they're athletic, they're quick, and they can score very easily.
You know what, man? People are sleeping on the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I use the word sleeping loosely because the Golden State Warriors are regarded as having the best backcourt in the NBA. But that kind of makes me wonder, why did Bradley Beal or Dion Waiters kind of say that their backcourts were the best when they obviously know that the Warriors outweigh the both of them? All right, let's start with Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry, we all know what Stephen Curry can bring. He's virtually automatic from the three-point line. He shot 42% last year, and his release is like 0.4 seconds it takes him to get his shot off. So he's extremely hard to guard, and he's the ultimate threat when it comes to scoring and getting his teammates the ball. He averaged 8 or 9 assists. I actually don't remember right now, but I mean, he's good all around. Next, you got Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's like basically a photocopy of Stephen Curry, except less of a distributor and more of a defender. He also shot 42% last year from the three-point line, and they're lethal. They're called the Splash Brothers for a reason. And one thing that that goes unnoticed is Klay Thompson's defensive capabilities. I'm a Clippers fan, so last year in the playoffs and in the regular season, I've seen Klay Thompson play defense on Chris Paul, and that dude is really tough when he comes to defense. He's an outstanding defender. He's quick, he's long, and he's extremely capable of producing consistently on both ends of the court, offensively and defensively. Next, if we're looking at the bench, I mean, the Warriors got some solid pickups this year for their backcourt off the bench. They got Sean Livingston, who we all know after tough career with constant knee issues and not knowing if he was ever going to play again. He's bounced back the past couple of years with the Nets, and he's just had outstanding years. And we all know what he can produce now. He's a 6'6" point guard who's really good at defense as well. He's extremely long, so that just adds to the scare factor that the Warriors bring in their backcourt. And one thing that also went unnoticed was their pickup of Brandon Rush. Brandon Rush played with the Warriors about 2 seasons ago, and he was injured all of last season. So many people forget what a 3-point specialist Brandon Rush was. He provided, when he was playing with the Warriors, he provided on a nightly basis consistent 3-point shooting. So I just think that those 4 players, Stephen Curry, the star power with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, and then plus you have the solid contributors, solid night-to-night contributors in Sean Livingston, and what Brandon Rush is bound to be, then I just think that that's, an unquestionable backcourt in regards to who the best backcourt in the NBA is. So Media Day just passed, and for all the players who we've missed so dearly over the summer, we got to hear them speak again and get us a little bit more excited for next year. One thing that kind of seemed out of place in Media Day was Carmelo Anthony's statement. He said that he thinks he's the most underrated superstar in the NBA. So Kerman, I'm going to ask you, do you agree with him? And if not, who is the most underrated superstar in the NBA?
So first off, Kabir, I don't agree with Carmelo Anthony's statement on being considered the most underrated superstar in this league. Partly because he gets his attention in the New York media, playing in Madison Square Garden, and partly because I think there's another player who's more underrated than him in the league, and that player is Russell Westbrook. Since the Thunder have been a team, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant have been absolutely extraordinary. The Thunder are considered as scoring machines that are led by the duo of Westbrook and Durant. Durant primarily has been considered as the leader of that team. He's a scoring machine. He just scores really whenever he wants. It's kind of ridiculous. He took home the MVP awards last year, as most of you know. But Russell Westbrook, because of all the attention that Durant gets, often gets overlooked. Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, I think he's a gift from God in terms of a point guard in the NBA. Like, this dude is the whole package. Like, he has athleticism, quickness. He could score the ball, shoot the ball. He can drive, dunk, pass, and he's really learned to take care of the ball in the past couple of years. And all in all, I just think that Russell Westbrook is a tremendous player, and if you were to ask me right now, I would throw him in the top 2. I would throw him as the second best point guard in the league, behind only Chris Paul. And the reason I say that is because most people, when they're talking about the top 3 point guards in the league, they often overlook Russell Westbrook. And I think partly that's because of all the attention that Kevin Durant gets on the Thunder. But me and my friend, we always joke around that when Kevin Durant leaves for Washington, D.C., in the next couple of years, when he becomes a free agent, Russell Westbrook will become the greatest player in NBA history. Like, that's obviously not true, but you get the point, Like, just imagine when Russell Westbrook leaves, just imagine how many when Kevin Durant leaves, just imagine how many points Russell Westbrook will be scoring on every night. He'd be averaging at least 30 points a game, highlight plays every day, and I think at that point is when Russell Westbrook will get all the attention that he deserves.
Man, I got to agree with Carmelo Anthony. I genuinely believe he's the most underrated superstar in the NBA. A lot of people kind of don't even label him as a superstar anymore. One of those people would be Stephen A. Smith, another would be Skip Bayless. And the thing that they kind of characterize superstars as is by their playoff success. And we all know Carmelo hasn't been that successful in the playoffs so far in his career. But I don't think that's what judges a superstar. I think you judge a superstar by their talent and how well they produce in the NBA season. Like, a guy like Anthony Davis, who doesn't have a really good team, but he's never been to the playoffs, but in most people's eyes, like, he's a superstar in the NBA right now, just because he has so much talent. So the same thing should be said for Carmelo Anthony. Like, Carmelo Anthony averaged 27 points and 8 rebounds last year. Like, that's nothing to be understated. A lot of people, you know, when they're listing their top 10s, they get kind of caught up with the Steph Currys of the world, the Russell Westbrooks of the world, you know, the Blake Griffins. But so Carmelo has kind of fallen off people's lists in the past couple of years. But that doesn't diminish the talent that he brings every single night. He has the ability to shoot from anywhere on the court. By anywhere, I mean anywhere. He can post up. He's shown a lot of good, like a good, strong rebounding ability, especially in the past couple years for the Knicks, where they've lacked a lot of good bigs. He's kind of taken on that burden of playing the power forward position. He's played it well. And let's not forget, he had 62 points against the Bobcats last year. Like, no one can do that. Like, no one can do that in the NBA. Like, LeBron did have 61, but LeBron's the best player in the NBA right now. So for a player like Carmelo to have one more point than him should show that Carmelo is at least a top 10 superstar. So I just think that because of what he brings to the table every single night, compared to other people that people would list as legitimate superstars or whatever, I just think that Carmelo Anthony is the most underrated superstar in the NBA. And I don't think that his superstardom title should be, you know, dubbed coinciding with his playoff success or his lack of success. So now let's segue into our final topic, which is on the opposite end of the spectrum. Who do you think is the most overrated superstar in the NBA?
So Kabir, in my opinion, I think the most overrated player in the NBA right now is Stephen Curry, and I have my reason, I have my justification as to why I think that. Stephen Curry, he's completely automatic from three-point line, but there's a certain point that much of the media and much of people all around the world have crossed, where they completely get caught up in the hype and they get too hyped over the shot-making ability of Stephen Curry. You know, granted, it's mesmerizing, like it's very fun to watch, but I think that people have taken it a bit too far in terms of how much attention that Stephen Curry gets from the media. And remember, Stephen Curry, before he had his breakout year, what was it, in 2012 to 13, he was riddled by injuries throughout his career. His ankles were hurting, like he would sit out most of the season prior to 2012 to 2013 season with those ankle injuries, and people would just not really talk about him. But when he started playing again, he started making all those threes. Everyone got so happy because they'd never seen such a player who can make such ridiculous three-point shots at such ease. And you know, there's just this hype that formulated around Stephen Curry. I think at one point it just got completely out of hand. And Stephen Curry, I want to point out his weaknesses. Granted, he does have a great three-point shot, but he tends to turn the ball over at a very high rate. And you know, his defense is not very good either. Just on its own, he's not a very good individual defender. But I think those parts of his game get overlooked very often because of his ability to score in bunches, and in bunches I mean like crazy bunches. But I just think like especially for you guys that pay attention to Bleacher Report, you know about Rick Bucher, who's actually a Warriors broadcaster and analyst. He's extremely biased towards Stephen Curry. Like this dude loves his Stephen Curry. And I think Rick Bucher is just one example of the many media members that are just caught up in all the hype surrounding Stephen Curry. And I think there's a point where, you know, people need to start realizing that he's not as good as the media makes it seem. And I prefer if people would just tone it down a bit.
You know, firstly, I agree with you. I think Stephen Curry does get some aspects of his game gets overlooked, and you know, people see all the hype. There's so much hype around him with his shooting ability. One example would be actually like Stephen A. Smith, who said that Stephen Curry's his favorite player now. But if I had to pick another superstar in the NBA who I think is overrated, I think I'd pick James Harden. James Harden, we all saw the FIBA World Cup this offseason, and we all saw James Harden's lack of defense. Now, it kind of confuses me as to why a player like James Harden, who's, you know, offensively he's a superstar in the NBA, he's getting paid millions of dollars, why he wouldn't commit at all in the defensive end. Like, the amount of commitment that he gives on the defensive end is abysmal. Like, he'll sleep on players, he'll have his back turned, he'll let players get past him, and then he'll kind of bank on the people, his teammates behind him, to kind of make up for his man getting past him. And one thing James Harden likes a lot to do is, like poke from the behind or whatever to try to steal the ball, but as we all know, that's mostly ineffective. But okay, James Harden, we all know what he brings to the table as far as, shooting goes and scoring goes. He's an outstanding left-handed shooter. He can shoot from anywhere. But just his defense kind of gets overlooked. It's gotten a little bit, his lack of defense has been put in the spotlight more recently, especially in the FIBA World Cup. But I just think that his lack of defense shouldn't rate him as high of a superstar as he actually is right now by most people. Just because his defense is completely useless. Like it doesn't really produce much. But that's not taking away from his offensive capability, because offensively he is a superstar, but defensively he's not good at all. So earlier this year we saw that Jordan released pictures and promos of their upcoming 2015 remastered retros. They're retroing a bunch of their retros that they already released in past years, and they're going back to the tumbled leather and the nice, comfortable and quality material that they used to use on their shoes that they've kind of digressed from in the past couple of years. So they're all slated for 2015 releases, and recently some of the releases for some of the shoes have been leaked, but as of now they're pure like rumors, but they seem pretty legit. So can you tell us some of the release dates?
Okay, so guys, just some release dates for you coming out in 2015. We have the Columbia Retro 4s releasing on January 10th of 2015. Following that are the Bulls Over Broadway Jordan Retro 10s coming out February 14th in 2015, and followed by the Jordan Retro Teal 4s releasing on March 14th of 2015, and finally the Double Nickel 10s are releasing on March 28th of 2015.
So those are just the shoes that, those are just some of the shoes that are given release dates. A lot of them still have not been given release dates, and these ones right now are pure rumors. Nothing has been confirmed by the brand yet, and right now Jordan has said, however, that all of their shoes that are releasing in 2015 will be set at a price of $200. So the release of all of these high quality shoes should be something that you guys should be looking forward to in the next year. So guys, this week's sneak of the week is, I have it right here for you guys. It's the Bleached Denim Air Max 90 infrared. And so I'll just kind of go over the shoe for you guys. Firstly, before this shoe was sent to Nike retailers and Nike store, it was released only overseas at the store called Atmos, which is a store based in Tokyo, Japan. And the shoe was said to be a collaboration with Atmos. However, on the shoe itself, there's no Atmos branding name or logo. So as far as, I'm not exactly sure on whether it's a collaboration or not, but that does not diminish how nice the shoe is. Like this is probably one of my favorite shoes. I got them before they actually came out for about $180. They were retailed at $140. So I got those, and they are dead stock. So I'll just kind of go over the shoe for you. Firstly, we gotta touch up on the whole upper. It's completely denim, and it's not just denim, it's bleached denim, which is, it has the white spots all over, and it's extremely cool because it's a nice accent to the shoe, and it's something a little bit different that we haven't seen with the Air Max 90. If you kind of go over to the Nike swoosh, then that's snakeskin. Like, that's extremely diverse of Nike to add snakeskin along with denim, and then kind of move the shoe as well. So another material that Nike used besides denim and snakeskin was suede, which is on the toe box. So suede is on the toe box, and it's kind of here around the heel lining. So you can see the suede as well. So it's just a lot of materials that Nike decided to use for the shoe, and I'm a huge fan of shoes that pop out, so I like the shoe a lot. And the most obvious thing is obviously the infrared, which Nike uses frequently on their Air Max 90s, and they just look dope every single time Nike uses them. Right here, and then the midsole right here is just standard white, and then the sole just standard black Air Max 90 sole. And the back, the back is the Air Max heel tab, which says Nike Air, just standard Air Max 90. And then one thing I missed was actually the tongue, which also has denim on it, and the tongue just says Nike in infrared. And then, let me see if I missed anything. They did come with an extra pair of laces. I think that they were white laces, so I have those right here. These are just the standard black laces that came with the shoe. And right here, you can kind of see, I'm not sure if you can see the insole, but the insole is bright infrared as well. So overall, the shoe is just an amazing shoe. I enjoy the shoe a lot. I think it's a shoe that's bound to turn heads or whatever, and it's just an eye-catching shoe, and I liked it a lot. I knew that right when I heard that they were going to be releasing to the United States, I had to get a pair, and I'm extremely happy that I did get a pair.
That's it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our videos on YouTube.
And guys, as always, please be sure to look at, to follow our next video next week. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Now, only thing that's on my mind is who gon' run this